Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to High Score Girl Episode 2. Or I guess we could call it Level 2. Or Round 2, or whatever else, I don't know. So yeah, I'm going to be honest right off the bat here. I'm just going to get things out of the way. I'm not sure if we're going to continue this series, or if we do, how far we're going to continue it. I did say in the last reaction and everything, and during my afterthoughts, I said that this series is important to a degree, and I stand by that. For those of you who might have also, like me, grown up as gamers, grown up big into gaming, all the way from the likes of the NES, or even further back than that. Or even if you were younger and grew up starting like with the N64 or whatnot, that's fine too. Um, for those of us who grew up as gamers and all, this is huge. It's nostalgic as hell, and it's just this really big deal. This, as I said during the first reaction, this series clearly is made by someone who is passionate about gaming, passionate about the games themselves, and the act of just enjoying them. We have multiple different like combos and stuff shown. We have characters who are clearly just super into these games. And it's like, they're real games too. They're not just some random fake games made up for the show. Or, I guess, the manga, if this was based on that. They are legitimately real games. Like, this is taking place in the time where Street Fighter 2 had just come out. That was featured. We had Ghosts and Goblins featured. Final Fight. All of these games are huge names. And I can't wait to see what else they go with. The thing is, there wasn't like a huge amount within that time to really draw from. So I'm wondering exactly like what they are going to take from. Which games specifically. Will they go into the likes of like Nintendo stuff like Mario and whatnot? Or are they going to stick more with specifically fighting style games for the most part? Or side-scrolling beat-em-ups? We'll have to see. Now, when I'm saying that I might not end up continuing to react to this, I'm not saying that I think it's going to be bad. It's just I have a shit ton of shows I'm currently reacting to. Like, much more than I planned for. And honestly, at this point, I might have to start getting a little bit stricter. So if I do drop the show from reactions, that doesn't mean that I don't like the show and that I'm not going to continue it. I will continue it on my own time. It just means that I want to focus on other stuff, and I think this show would be better to watch on my own at this point in time. We'll see. I'm not even saying that right away. It's just, I think I'm going to base it on this episode. I want to see where it goes, because like I said, we have a shit ton of stuff. Like, let me go over real quick everything we're currently reacting to on this channel. So Sundays, hold on. We currently have Cells at Work, and then Attack on Titan Season 3 just started, which apparently is on Sundays here in America, but I guess is Mondays in Japan because of time zones and all. In fact, let me just put that on to Mondays just to be safe, instead of Sundays. Okay, so Sundays is the Cells at Work. Right now, Mondays is Last Man, and now Attack on Titan Season 3. Tuesday, we're going to be starting Voltron Legendary Defender Season 5. Wednesday, we have Middle Manager Tonegawa. Thursday is Steins Gate Zero. Friday, we are going to be starting something new, starting this week, since we're dropping Yona of the Dawn. Saturday is My Hero Academia Season 3 and High Score Girl. Plus MLP will be coming back this next month. And then we just have so much more going on and starting and everything. It's just so much, you know? I mean, just today, I'm reacting to a shit ton of stuff, so it's just so much to handle, you know? And I'm not saying I couldn't necessarily handle, but I think I want to cut down on a couple things. If MLP is coming back soon to Saturdays, I might want to cut down on High Score Girl, so that's why I'm saying I might judge it based on this episode here. I mean, I could, I guess, move High Score Girl to Sundays, but I don't know. Trying to do two shows on Sundays it will be tough because Sunday's not exactly the best day for me to do that. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes. Um, we also have that Marvel Rising Initiation series of shorts that I'm going to react to on the 13th of August. But those are just a series of shorts. That's not an actual show. So it's basically hyping up this movie that's coming. So either way, let's just talk about what we're here for right now. And that is High Score Girl. So what this is about, we have our main character who's like this really, really like good gamer kid. He's really good at what he does, especially at Street Fighter, and he kind of has a hard time understanding someone being better than him at first. But throughout last episode, we saw that he was starting to grow, starting to understand that, yeah, people can be better than him, and that's okay. Um, and I talked about last time how his story and how his growth as a person and everything is going to be big. And I especially mentioned that through the lens of sexism, because let's be honest, sexism, especially in the gaming world, was big back then. And it's still a thing now, but it was definitely big back then. Girls were not seen as legitimate gamers, especially at that time, because gaming was seen as something for little boys to do. Little girls would play with their Barbies and dolls and stuff, and little boys would be gamers. Now, there was always exceptions to that, of course. There were always boys who played with Barbies. Plot twist. When I grew up, when I still identified as a boy, I mean, I'm a girl. I am a trans girl. I am a girl. But when I identified as a boy, I played with Barbies. And guess what? I'm not the only one in my family who did so. I heard that my uncle actually used to do so. Um, so it's just like, it's a thing. There have been boys who've played with Barbies. There are girls who have played with G.I. Joes and video games and whatnot. You could play with anything you want, honestly. But back then, that wasn't such a common idea. Things were a lot more gendered even back then than they are now, and things are very gendered now. um, so there was sexism in that kind of thing. And I like how they showed that here. And I don't like sexism. I despise it. But I like that they showed the realism of it in the first episode by showing that, yes, that is a thing. Um, and there are cases that some people didn't care. And there are situations where after, like, the girl would prove she's good, they'd be on board because it'd be like, oh, this is getting interesting and this is unique and different. But there was also a lot of people who would say, like, oh, I can't lose to a girl. That's not right. That's not how it works. I'm a guy. I should automatically be better at this. And our main character kind of showed that in the first episode. But as I said, he also showed growth. Now, also to note, this episode's art style, I've seen more of it again, and it's still butt ugly. I really hate it. I don't think this art style is going to grow on me like something like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure did. I don't know. It's really bad. It's really ugly and stupid. They didn't have to go with that horrible of an art style for this. They really didn't. But maybe that's just me. um, Either way, I'm interested to see what this second episode has in store for us. So we're going to get this started, and as I said, at the end, I'll determine whether or not I feel like I want to continue reacting to this or watching it on my own time. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. I don't know what I'm going to do here. I don't want to stop reacting to this. In fact, I actually want to react to it even more now after the second episode. Like seriously, like the first episode after watching it, like I'm like, okay, this is really cool. I like this. I want to continue reacting to it. And then I'm starting to think, oh, I'm getting into too much here. I'm not going to be able to get to all of this. And I start thinking like, oh, I might have to drop this after, at least just from reactions. And then I watch this episode and it's like, no, I can't drop this now. It's getting cute. It's like getting legitimately really freaking cute and funny and lovely and beautiful and is actually touching my feels quite a bit. Uh, like seriously, at the end there, seeing her, seeing Ono like gain that new sense of resolve and positivity after everything that happened, and seeing how her mentor is like noting that and everything, and it's like at first it wasn't like it's like okay cool, but then I started to think about it and like right before I cut out of the reaction, it's like I was cutting out, especially right there I had to because I was about to cry because not just because it's beautiful to see how she's coming along and how she's starting to become happier, but because she's starting to become happier and why she needs that. We saw a bit of it in the first episode, but a lot more of it in this one. Ono is a sheltered rich girl. She's not allowed to have games and stuff at home. She, as we see in this one especially, she's now, well, as we know, she's being really, she's being placed in these really restrictive, like, tutoring classes with this kind of psychotic mentor. Her parents, at least we haven't seen them be around, so we don't know how active they are in her life. And now she's found someone who can care for her and who she can care for, and who can show her that there's more to life. Someone who can help her be herself and just have fun and love being herself. Someone she doesn't have to put on a facade around. Someone she can just enjoy life with. Jeez. I'm sorry, but that's really beautiful. And it's like, oh, jeez. Give me a second here. It's really sad at the same time because I've seen other shows, other movies, anime, games even, stuff with characters like this. Um, to a much lesser degree, I could say that I'm like that. Characters, people in real life and all, who are coerced and kind of forced in some ways to be who their parents want them to be, who their teachers want them to be, who just the world and society wants them to be, forcing them into behaving and acting and just doing things their way instead of the children's way, the child's way. Instead of listening to the kids and finding out what they like and what they want to be and what they want to do and all of that, they're forcing their own ideals. They're forcing their own desires on these children. And that happens so often. Not just in rich families, but in very just standard families. And it's horrible. Kids should grow up having that freedom to choose who they want to be. They should be able to decide their own futures, not have it decided for them by parents who only want to fulfill their own wishes through their child. To see how happy she was spending time with him, playing games, eating street food and pancakes, and just being herself. This is probably the first time she's really smiled in a long time. Probably the first time she's ever been this genuinely happy. Even her mentor kind of said it. She basically said she hasn't seen Ono like that. Hasn't seen her posture like that, her sense of renewed purpose or whatnot. And this is exactly why I said this show is so important. Again, not just because of it being about gaming, and because of all the people watching it who grew up playing games like this, or even some of these specific games. It's not just important because of the passion shown in it, but because of the message it tells. Because this isn't just a series about gaming. It is definitely about gaming, but it's more than that. It's a series about a little girl who just wants to be free. Free from the constraints placed on her by presumably her parents and definitely by this mentor. By the ideals that others have of her. By the twisted beliefs that people had towards girls even gaming in that time. It's a study on how this little girl can open up, come out of her shell, and be proud to be who she is, and to love what she loves. And to find someone who's not going to judge her for it, who's going to enjoy doing this stuff with her, and who she can truly just be happy to be around, and be herself around. This series is important because it's telling us that through anything, not just video games, not just street food and pancakes, but through anything, as long as we have someone there to spend time with, we can come out of our shell and just be who we are and love who we are. It's a very important message. One that a lot of kids don't know because of the way they're raised. Ones that a lot of parents don't know because they're raising their kids the only way they know how. Because it's the way they in turn were raised. I've heard of kids, fucking kids, committing suicide because they weren't allowed to be who they are. In many different situations. The fact that fucking kids killed themselves because of parents, teachers, other kids even telling them that they can't be who they know they are, that they can't love what they know they love. Well, the fact that that's even a fucking thing is devastating. It's one of the most horrible things in this world. That we try to control children's lives so much that that kind of shit can go down. That kids would be willing to take their own lives before they've even truly began. Before they were even allowed to begin. And I know that might seem like it's going to an extreme level with this. But all because these kids weren't allowed to be themselves. And now we have an anime that's all about this girl learning to be comfortable with being who she is and loving what she loves and finding someone who will support her in that. The series may not have the best art and animation, nor the best voice acting, or other stuff like that. But it's too important to ignore. It's teaching us something we desperately, as a human race, need to grasp before more kids pay the ultimate price for our mistakes. We're continuing this show. I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles, shed tears.